Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back. Warshak here, or Rob. And in this episode or video, we're going to be going over what I think are kind of like, they were the sleeper cards of the expansion, cards that I did not think would see as much play as they did, or I didn't really review them very highly, and they turned out to be pretty popular, found in more than one deck. That's actually pretty good, and I can see continuing on in the future to still being able to see play in more and more decks. So with the first card we're going to go over is probably the card with the least amount of text that we're going to go over, period, is going to be the War Gear. I don't want to spend a lot of time here, but it's a card I really didn't think would see that much play at all. It's just a 5/5 mech with magnetic, but it actually turns out magnetic is really good because you're able to apply it to a creature that's already on the board. So you're basically, think of this as like a Blessing of Kings, but instead of being a 4 mana, give a minion +4/+4, it's just a 5 mana, give a minion 5/5, which is really, really good. Obviously, it can only be used with mechs, but if you're playing some form of mid-range, mech paladin deck, which is actually pretty popular, it works well if you're applying it to a taunt. It works well if you're putting it onto the egg card, make the 8/8 dinosaur. So I'm sure we'll see this card much more in the future as more sort of mid-range aggro mech decks pop up, if that becomes a thing. And this is just a card that's going to be included in those decks just because it's play it for 5 mana, deal 5 damage to the face, or trade into a minion. Just think of it as a buff to a minion, like a Blessings of Kings, like I mentioned. The next card we're going to go over is another card that is basically like the buff mechanic we just mentioned, that's Zill. So when I first went over this card, I was like, oh, this card is not very good. It's a 5 mana 3/2 mech, magnetic, divine shield, taunt, lifesteal, rush. I'm like, eh. And then I looked at it a little bit more and I started thinking about it more in the sense of like, not a minion, but a buff to put onto another minion. And, towards the later ends of when the expansion was going to release, I'm like, yeah, it's going to be pretty good. But I didn't realize it was going to be like literally in every single mech deck. It's like a key component of how powerful this card is. So I'm not sure. I didn't really watch a lot of other streamer reviews on how they rated this card, but again, these are just like how I was looking at the card. So if other people like, Rob, 3 out of 4 of the other pro players said this card was broken, well, that's fine. I'm talking about what I was thinking and what I talked about in my reviews. So this was a card that I was just like, I wasn't too sure about, and didn't look that great off the bat. But now, as we've seen, core component found all over the place. I mean, this guy is I don't want to say as popular as the Giggling Inventor, but he's got to be somewhere up there, right? Like, this guy is really popular, really powerful card, and just off the bat, just taking a look at him, it doesn't look that popular, or not look that powerful, right? But as we've seen, this guy is just really, really, really good. Whether you're using him for the taunt, the rush, the lifesteal, the divine shield to trade into a minion without him taking any damage, just a super solid card. The next card we're going to look over is the Cosmic Anomaly. I actually rated this card as like poo doggo, poo dog poo. Just the 4 mana 4/3 spell damage +2. I was just like, mages have better things. Spell day is never gonna live. Yada yada yada. And then now he's found in every single tempo mage deck. He's just like just a card. You don't actually have to play the other, like the new 4 mana epic spell that increases, for every spell damage you get to summon a minion. You don't even have to have that in your deck. This card is just played. It makes your fireball 8 damage. I mean, that's craziness. A 4 mana deal 8 damage, makes arcane missiles do a sizable amount more. Arcane explosion, a 2 mana deal 3 to everything on your opponent's side of the field. So I mean, this guy is just exceedingly solid for what he does in the stat line and the mana cost plus his ability. I mean, it's just a good mage card. Plus, he's an elemental, so if you happen to be playing some sort of like, spell power elemental mage, some mid-range weirdness, he fits into that too. Even if you're playing some wacky stuff, this guy can wiggle his way in there. So a card that I really didn't see was going to be in the tempo mage deck is now almost in every single tempo mage deck. Plus, he's a common. You really just can't beat out on a common, really solid tempo mage card. Next card we're going to take a look at is the Mechanical Whelp. These cards I tend to overlook just because I don't think of Carnivorous Cube, and the reason I don't think of Carnivorous Cube is because I really don't play with Carnivorous Cube. So if you have players who like loved their their cube lock, they probably looked at the Whelp, was like, oh my god, this is so good, I can play this and whatever, and I can pop it, and it'll be an awesome Death Rattle deck. And to me, like, summoning a 6 mana 2/2 Death Rattle, it's just going to get silenced. But again, I wasn't thinking cube, I wasn't thinking play dead, I wasn't thinking stuff like that. So, as we've seen, this card is very popular. It's part of the key parts of some of the Death Rattle Hunters. It is definitely a key part of the Death Rattle Rogue package. Overall has proven to be a very, very solid card in those decks, and works very well in them. Synergizes with multiple different spells and minions that have come out, and weapons this past expansion to allow you to summon these mechanical 7/7 mechanical dragons very cleanly and effectively, also very early on in the game. All right, so there'll be a cut here because my computer did this whole everything goes to a black screen. I don't understand why it does that. Next card we're going to take a look at is the Supercollider. This is the card that I rated really bad. I was like, oh, I don't know. This is looking real. This might be too saucy. After you attack a minion, force it to attack one of its neighbors. I was just like, your opponent will position it in a way that it, won't be effective. 5 mana, only 3 charges, has 1 attack, but it's actually worked out a lot better, and it's pretty good. I started testing it towards the first to second day of the new expansion, our Control Warrior build. There's so many people who are like, Rob, why are you playing Supercollider? You rated that card as horrible. It's horrible. And I was just like, no, let me give it a shot. Let me give it a shot. And it actually worked out really, really well. We started seeing more and more people play with it, not because of me, just because people were also trying it and it happened to be good. And I was just like, holy crap, this card is actually good. So now we see Control Warrior builds, a lot of them running at least 1, if not 2 Supercolliders in them now. So super great card. Very, very value oriented. The problem is that if you're playing against an aggro deck and they play like a Voidwalker, or they play like some Tar Creeper, a cheap taunt, that may not work out to your advantage there, just because of like there's stuff in the way. But if you're playing against another mid-range or a control deck and they put like a 5/4 next to a 4/5 or something like that, you're just like, oh, let me kill them both and only take 4 damage. It's so good. So super solid card coming from the warrior weapon. Pot, act, thing, bucket, book, side. Moving on. Dino Maduk. Oh, yes. 5 mana, 3/4 mech, battle cry, deal 5 damage, randomly split amongst all minions except mech. So when I first looked at this, I was like, it's not gonna be that good. 5 mana, 3/4. Mechs are gonna be super popular. Everybody's gonna be playing mechs. This is going to get like no value, and plus it's split across all mechs, minions except mechs, which means that it could possibly hit your own minions. So I was like, ew, that's not very good. But then after playing with it, obviously playing 2 in our Control Warrior deck, the card is exceedingly super awesomely powerful. If we wanted to hit our own minions, we can normally play like an Alkalite Pain, and then we can play this and we get to draw 3 cards. That's really good. If your opponent plays a 5/5, you can literally just kill the 5/5. You're playing against maybe a token druid or an odd warlock or an odd rogue, not a warlock, and they play 2 minions on the board that have a sizably low amount of health. You could just play this, clears up both of them. It's just a super solid removal tool. Most of the cards in your deck, there's not a lot of minions in the Control Warrior, and the minions that you have, half of them are mechs anyway, so you don't really have to worry about this guy killing your own board. Most of the time it's going to be able to clear at least one of your opponent's minions, if not more, depending, like we said, what kind of deck they're playing. If they're playing like a more aggro or control based deck. So really, like, this card was so surprisingly powerful in Control Warrior, and it's good to see that there was 2 of the cards that we've gone over that are actually Control Warrior cards that are really, really good, because past couple expansions, Control Warrior has gotten nothing. It's been awful. So it's good to see cards like this fit into, like I said, the Control Warrior class. The last card that we're going to take a look at that I rated, I don't even think I rated it that highly, is going to be the Soul Infusion. This card definitely surprised me. Didn't surprise the Zoo players, because they're like, obviously I'm going to give it to my Serenite Chain Gang, or the new Imp card, and it's going to duplicate it, and then it's basically going to be a 1 mana 4/4 in stats that I'm going to be able to play on the board, so dud's going to be good, Rob. But I myself, again, I don't really play any aggro decks, so giving Soul Infusion to a card that duplicates like Serenite or the Imp, like I've mentioned, to get super value, it was not going through my mind. I was thinking, do I play this in control lock? The answer is no. Do I play this in mid-range lock or some mid-range control demon lock? No. All right, moving on. I was not thinking the Zoo. It's a super solid card here. It's only a rare as well. So a lot of the cards that we've gone over, guys, that have actually popped up and been really popular aren't epics, besides I think the Supercollider, and they're not legendaries. So that's really good for you guys, meaning that there's a lot of popular and powerful cards that have popped up that are very cheap. Soul Infusion being one of them. Of course, the Cosmic Anomaly being, I think, the cheapest common. But anyway, if I happen to left out a card that you guys think is really popular that I rated or everybody rated very poorly that I happen to miss out, let me know. But I think I hit most of the ones that I reviewed and was not that surprised or not that keen and thinking they were going to be very powerful. That actually turned out well. I think we hit most of them on the head with this. But like I said, if I happen to miss out on anything, let me know in the comment section below. Also, yeah, that's it. So with that, thanks for watching, guys. I will catch you in the next episode and or on Twitch. Have a good one and happy whatever the hell day it is.